I'm Carol Angela Davis. Thank you for joining me on Friday. It is September 23rd, 2011. This is your reality news check. We're going to begin, of course, as we always do, with your headlines. We now know who is going to lead the Republican National Committee's fundraising efforts against President Obama. Also, the Senate rejects the House spending bill, and they're calling it the lost generation. What the recession has done to our families, particularly our young people. Also, our young people are on the move. They are protesting. We're so proud of them. Then the death of a pop diva, yeah. And did you know that this comedienne had breast cancer and a double mastectomy? That's right, folks. Count your blessings. Okay, let's go on. In the race for the presidency 2012, he's the man the Republicans put in place to raise the money to try and defeat President Obama. I'm talking about Representative Paul Ryan, a Republican from Wisconsin. Ryan is now the chair of the RNC's Presidential Trust. So who is he, folks? You're probably asking, who is he, folks? Well, here he is, guys. He chairs the House Budget Committee, folks. He's the one who proposed a budget in April that would slash trillions of dollars from government spending, in part by privatizing Medicare. That's the man, honey. Privatizing Medicare and converting Medicaid into block grants. That's the man they chose for the job, folks, okay? Let's be clear. If you vote Republican, shut up. That's your problem. When everything's gone, don't say a word, all right? All right, let's go on to the Republicans racing for the White House 2012. Let's talk about Texas Governor Rick Perry. The question about him is he for or against the HPV vaccine? I mean, what is his stand on the issue? I guess that depends on what's at stake for him, at least. As you know, Perry, as we've talked about, he is running for president. We talk about it all the time. On the Republican side, for many years, you should know that he was an ardent supporter of the HPV vaccine. He even took time out from his very busy schedule and from the gubernatorial campaign trail to visit the bedside of a woman who died from cervical cancer at the age of 31. And who was an ardent supporter of the vaccine, and he gave a speech on the subject at her memorial service. That, folks, might cause you to think that Rick Perry is for the HPV vaccine. Well, at that time he was. In fact, Perry now, though, today, says his support of the HPV vaccine was a mistake. It was a mistake, folks. Well, the question is this. What, of course, is his true stance on the issue? His Republican rivals say, Michelle Bachmann we're talking about, say he only favored the vaccine to get a $5,000 campaign contribution from Merck, which, of course, manufactures the vaccine and made a ton of cash, folks. Merck gave Perry the contribution, and they have made a ton of cash on that HPV vaccine. And I got to tell you something, folks. Rick Perry's former chief of staff was the chief lobbyist for Merck. Come on, guys. You got to vote for this guy? Don't be stupid. In other news, the Senate today rejected a House spending bill to keep the government funded. It was a 59-36 vote. Democrats in the Senate objecting to the level of funding given to the Federal Emergency Management Agency. You know it as FEMA. They are very unhappy about deep cuts to an energy program, that the GOP reduced as an offset to the increased funds to FEMA. Let's hope there are not any tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. Let's hope nothing happens, folks, because there is no money to help out. You understand? The federal government has money to run through September 30th. FEMA could run dry on Monday, folks, without further congressional action. And so what do you think the Republicans are doing, since if there's a hurricane, all these unpredictable disasters could happen, not to mention that for the last hurricane, we don't know if we don't have enough money to pay for that, okay? What do you think the Republicans are doing? They're going on vacay. That's right, folks. They're going home for recess next week. House Majority Leader Eric Cantor, Republican from Virginia, he says there are no plans to stay in Washington and fix things. I mean, why should they worry about it? I mean, let's face it, Eric Cantor's got enough money to fix anything he wants to. It's your problem, folks. Sit down and shut up if you put these people in office. On the Democratic side, Harry Reid says the Senate will stay in session to resolve the impasse because they care. So the problem with the Republicans, they just don't care. They just don't have any heart. All right, in business news, folks, it's bad, folks. According to the American Community Survey, young adults are in trouble in this economy, and I mean in a big way. They are being called the recession's lost generation. The unemployment rate for them is the highest since World War II, folks. 1 in 5, folks, they risk living in poverty. Employment among young adults 16 to 29 was 55.3% compared with 67.3% in 2000. Young males, folks, young males who lacked a college degree, they are the most likely to lose jobs because of reduced demand for blue-collar jobs in construction, manufacturing, and transportation. Folks, it's so bad that 5.9 million Americans aged 25 to 34 last year lived with mom and dad. An increase of 25% from before the recession. Men are now nearly twice as likely as women to live with their parents. It's terrible. Broken down by race and ethnicity, 31% of young black men lived in their parents' homes. That is compared with 21% among young Latino men and 15% among young white men. Most of the cities with low percentages of young adults living at home were in the Midwest. Marriages fell to a record low last year. This is the other side of the story, folks. We're flipping over to marriages now. Marriages fell to a record low last year of just 51.4% among adults 18 and over. That is compared with 57% in 2000. We should tell you that among young adults 25 to 34, marriage was at 44.2%, also a new low. They're not getting married. They're not having children. The number of households receiving food stamps, you got to know this, it swelled by 2 million to 13.6 million. That means nearly 1 in 8 now receives government aid. And we should tell you this, the number of Hispanic children in poverty, it rose by 500,000 to 6.1 million last year, making a majority of making Hispanics a majority of the increase in total child poverty. But you know what, folks? Despite that, our young people are in action, folks. They are in action. They are protesting, and we hope they continue to do so. Please, folks, don't stop. We're going to have a spotlight today on the Occupy Wall Street movement. It was launched in July by the online magazine Adbusters. They call themselves, quote, 99% that will no longer tolerate the greed and corruption of the 1%, unquote. They are talking about that Wall Street greed that we are all so sick of. And the corporate titans who they believe have taken control of our democracy, and they are right. All right, the demonstrators are urging President Obama to end the, quote, influence money has over our representatives in Washington, unquote. They camped out in Zuccotti Park in New York City, which they've renamed Liberty Plaza. That's right, young people. You keep it going. Keep it moving, folks. You can't get a job. You don't have a job. You live with your mom and dad. We know you're as sick of them as they are of you. All right? 1834. Come on, folks. You don't need to be living at home. You got nothing else to do, so take yourself down to Wall Street and make some change. And they're camped out, folks. They got toilets, everything down there. So if you're young, 18, get on down there and help them out. Support them. All right, now let's move on because it's very sad news. Sadly, today we have to report the death of singer Vesta Williams. Oh my gosh, one of my all-time favorites. She died at the age of 53. Found dead in her California hotel room last night. You may remember her most from her big hit, Congratulations. Remember that? It was such a great song. It became a talent show staple. No word yet on how she died, but we will tell you this. In recent years, she had become an advocate for the prevention of childhood obesity and juvenile diabetes. So sorry to hear that. And there's more, folks. Comedian Wanda Sykes, get this. She reveals her breast cancer, which resulted in her having a double mastectomy. Yeah. Okay? The Emmy Award winner making the revelation on the Ellen DeGeneres show scheduled to air on Monday. Please don't miss it. Sykes told DeGeneres that the discovery came after a recent breast reduction surgery. And of course, I love Wanda. As only Sykes could say, she remarked, quote, I was like, I don't know, should I talk about it or what? How many things can I have? I'm black, then lesbian. I can't be the poster child for everything. At least with the LGBT issues, we get a parade, we get a float, a party. I love her. She is so funny. I love you, Wanda. Not only are you funny, you're not afraid to stand up and call it like it is, all right? Wanda, our best wishes go out to you. I thank you folks for joining me on this issue of the Reality News Check. Of course, I'm going to see you Monday. Same time, same place, news stories. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. This is your Reality News Check. Hey, follow me on Twitter, @CarolAngelaD. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.